Hello, today I'm going to be making kombucha. So this is all the ingredients you need. I also attached the recipes for the exact amounts. So pretty much you have to start with your, this is the made kombucha. So what I've measured out is a bit of that made kombucha, which is known as the starter. If you don't already have a batch of kombucha made, you could use your favorite brand of kombucha, and that's as plain as possible. So like the neutral flavor. And you would measure out, in my recipe, it's 2 cups. You'll need a SCOBY, so either you'll have to invest in a SCOBY or talk to a friend who's making kombucha, or you can make your own. So I'll also include a little bit of a recipe on how you would make your own. Okay, so with clean hands, I would have removed these from the kombucha where I was fermenting it. And now I'm gonna take a look at my SCOBYs. So as you can see, they grow. So these are 3 main SCOBYs. Oh, and 4th, I split one of them. So this is how you end up sharing your SCOBYs with people, right? Now it's grown so much, I have enough to do another bottle, or I can give it to someone, or you can just compost it. So generally, I like to clean off my SCOBYs. This is not something that everyone does, but I find it helps my kombucha like ferment at a like steady rate. So you want to be very gentle with these. And you want to use like moderately like tepid water, like whoops. And I like to also just peel off like any of the like pieces I don't like. So I took a picture before of some of the pieces that I didn't like, and I peeled them off. So I will probably compost this because it has a hole in it and it doesn't look that nice. So I'll compost that. And then I'll decide whether or not I'm going to make a 3rd one, or I could just double up one of them. But keeping in mind, as your SCOBY's growing, it's going to start fermenting at a quicker pace. All right, so now I'm going to film putting the kombucha into the jars to ferment. Sorry for the angle. Brian has already left for work, so I'm doing this alone. So first, with clean hands, I'm going to get my the things I need. So I'm gonna have 2 empty jars. I pre-rinsed them, and then this is the tea that I made. So this tea is just a strong sweet tea, and I've brought it to room temperature. So I made it last night, and then I let it cool overnight. Now I'm going to get a strainer. I forgot. Here we go. And I'm going to pour the tea into each of the jars. So I'm just gonna even it out. About so. Okay, they're about even. Okay, so now I have my 2 jars of tea. And then this is how I was storing my SCOBYs overnight. So I put them back in the starter that I had measured out, so the 2 cups of starter. And then I just put them in there, and then I left them, and then I put a plate on top of this jar. So I'm going to take my SCOBYs out, and I'm going to place them in here. I'm gonna put these 2 together, I think, because they're both smaller. This last batch we were at 10 days. So it's generally supposed to be about 2 weeks, but it's getting warmer in our house now because I'm gonna add this. So it's 1 cup each, like half and half. And then I would take something wooden. I'm just using a chopstick here, and I would stir this. And for storing this extra SCOBY, what I'm going to do is just make a strong sweet tea, and then I'll put it in there. But then instead of leaving it out on the counter, I would put it in the fridge because I don't want it to be like fermenting too fast. And then next, I'll cover these jars. So what I've used here are coffee filters. So we layered, I think, 2 of the compostable coffee filters. I have elastic bands here, and I'm just going to put it on top to keep it on tight. And then that's it. So now I'm going to take these and I'm going to put them in the corner where we've been fermenting our kombucha. So in a consistent temperature place, out of direct sunlight. So now what this video is about is flavoring it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be flavoring my kombucha with lavender because I think it tastes delicious, and agave. So what you do is, and the outcome here is we're trying to get kombucha here, fermented kombucha right here. It's carbonated. I'm going to insert this clip here. On this is the step on how to get it carbonated. So you take your fermented kombucha, and normally I split it because sometimes the 2 batches taste a little bit different. So I normally go half and half to like kind of combine it. And then I'll put these 2 together. The idea is I want to get like the same flavor. And I kind of stop at the end because sometimes that makes them ferment too quick in the bottle. So next, I'm going to take this made kombucha, and now to make it fermented or carbonated, you need to have a bottle that has a very tight clasp. So what I would recommend is investing in one of these. I got this from IKEA. So it has the trap to make it really airtight, or a brand such as GT that has a bottle that is really good and airtight. That will help make it carbonated. For instance, the other brands that just have the one open, I find the air escapes and they don't get carbonated. So to make it carbonated, you add your made kombucha into the bottle. Okay, so I want to combine it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my lavender. So it's up to you. You're just going to start to get used to like the amount of flavor you like in your kombucha, and also how flavorful your tea is that you're using to make your kombucha. And generally, right before I make kombucha, as you can see, these bottles are wet. You might be like, oh my God, is it clean? I rinsed it. I always pre-rinse everything because bacteria is really, like, this is all about bacteria. So even if it's been sitting on the shelf, sometimes dust could have gone in it, or you could have remaining, like, soap from when you did wash it. So I always just do a fresh rinse. That's just my preference. Okay, so you have your flavoring agent. So other options could be like, you can put pieces of ginger or lemon or fruit, but you have to take into consideration the sugar amount. So for instance, if you're adding fruit, then there would be sugar in it. So because there's no sugar in lavender buds, I'm going to add a sugar. So I'm going to add agave syrup, just a bit, probably about like half a teaspoon to a teaspoon for each of these. A little bit more for this one. And so it's important now to add the sweetener in here, and then when you seal it, the bacteria consumes it, and that's how it gets carbonated. Because when it was fermenting open-faced up here, it didn't really get carbonated because the air could release the lactic acid. But once you seal it, it can't, so it gets carbonated. It's really cool. You want to leave a little bit of space because it will build up like air. And sometimes after the first day, maybe second, I'll burp it just to allow a little bit of gas release. But generally I only do the second ferment for 1 to 2 days, pretty much because I'm really excited to drink it. But this all depends on the weather as well. Like if it's really hot, it might only take like 1 day to do the second ferment. Maybe in the cold winter, it would take longer. So then you seal it, like really tight as possible. Give it a little shake to let everything can combine. And then I would put it in like a shelf, like in down underneath, like in a dark, coolish, similar place to the original way it was fermenting. And check it after 1 day. And then with the remaining, well, I'll just add this to another bottle. I just don't have one on me. But so with your remaining starter here, what the next steps would be is to make a cold tea, cold, strong, sweet tea. So right here, what I've measured out and included as the recipe is 1 cup of sugar and 2 heaping tablespoons of black tea. So I'm going to bring this pot to a boil and then allow it to rest. And I'm going to add this in and steep it and make it really, really strong. Strain it, bring it to room temperature. And then I'm going to bring my SCOBYs into the pitcher. And I'll take a video of me doing this as well. Okay, so here's just an example of the kombucha in the second ferment right now. As you can see, the carbonation has just been building up and it's fermenting inside here, and they're sealed really tight. And remember how I said that that one bottle doesn't carbonate it very well because it doesn't keep the air airtight, whereas these ones do. So what I just did was I burped it. So I like softly kind of opened just a little bit and allow it go and release a little bit of air, and then I sealed it again. So it's still gonna build up, and then I'll probably tomorrow put them in the fridge and then they'll be ready to drink. So this is the second day.